Let's go back to lacrosse. Is it as violent as it looks?
Not really. For girls, it's a non-contact sport. It can be pretty violent. In fact, I did lose my tooth in a game once, or chip my tooth.
It's not violent. I just lost a tooth.
Yeah, just lost my arm. No, so the guys, it is pretty aggressive, but although my daughters have now started playing it, and which is really fun to see, and they wear like the goggles and mouth guards, and it definitely feels like there is a bit more protection now. I don't know if that means it's more violent than it was in my day, but yeah, it shouldn't be violent. It's not meant to be.
Hey there, and welcome to Impact After Hours, where changemakers sign off from work and log into life. I'm Camila Rente, CEO and co-founder of Human Group Media and your host. Today, I'm excited to find out what Alex Reid, Chief Communications Officer at the Gates Foundation, is really like off duty. The world knows who Bill Gates is, and if you're in the social impact space, you've probably heard of the Gates Foundation. Now, if you have read or watched anything from them, then you've encountered the fantastic work of Alex Reid and her team. Previously, Alex served as Chief Communications Officer at Gates Ventures, where she led communication strategy for the man himself. The first time I met Alex, I thought she was a breath of fresh air. Her peers describe her as a, quote, joyful communicator about the most serious things, end quote. Well, it's time to find out how she does with the not so serious things. Alex Reid, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So I'll cut to the chase. Let's talk about our dogs. Alex, you have Bennett, which Bennett is a golden doodle.
That's right.
And how big is Bennett again?
Oh, Bennett's just a mini. So he's like 25 pounds or something. Although right now he's very big and fluffy, and fluffier than he should be, because I forgot last week he had a hair appointment and I forgot to take it. So he's getting kind of fluffier every minute. But this week...
So not a small dog.
Well, it's pretty small,
Pretty small, okay.
Yeah.
For those of you who are watching, Alex and I are trying to measure Bennett. But I think I mentioned I also have a dog, but our dog is ginormous, like 90 pounds. Great Pyrenees mix named River. So we both have dogs. What is your favorite part about being like a fur parent to Bennett? And what is your least favorite part about it?
My most favorite is getting snuggles from him. So he sleeps on our bed, and I just love, he's very snuggly. I also have two very snuggly children. So I'm all for that. I love kind of walking with him. So it's a good like forcing mechanism. And it's also been kind of nice because friends of mine got dogs at the same time. And so we sort of use it as an opportunity to go hang out. And so one friend has got a dog who's just like, they're like best friends. And so it's so cute seeing them play. But the thing that I don't love, well, picking up his poop, I guess. The least fun part.
The other part about parenting.
Exactly. But yeah, thankfully 4 years in, he's finally stopped doing that in the house.
I feel the same way. Like our dog is super sweet too. I always actually get scared that he's too friendly. Like, you know, if someone drops like a package, like, if you have something delivered, like he'll just run away with whoever shows up at the door, and we won't be able to get a hold of him. But speaking of favorites, I wanted to ask you what's your favorite way to celebrate a victory or an accomplishment? Mm-hmm. And how do you pick yourself up after a difficulty or like a failure?
Well, probably similar for both, because I love people. So I think the way I celebrate is definitely like if I'm on a work trip or something, it's definitely like going out for dinner with the team, or having some drinks, and just sort of really wanting to like let loose a bit and just oh man, just so relieved that things have gone well, but definitely kind of love doing that with other people. And similarly, like if things haven't gone well, I feel like the first thing I want to do is just like commiserate with people that understand. And I have this like group chat of this group of women that I met at TED called Gather Women You Love. And like the first group would be that group who just like are so there for one another. And it's just really nice to know that, okay, we've got each other's back. And I am an amazing therapist, so I definitely would share what I've been going through with her. But yeah, it's probably kind of more sharing and commiserating, and then kind of getting back on it.
I feel like I saw a photo of you with that group of people.
Yeah.
And that sounds like a great group to be a part of.
Yeah, it's been such a blessing. Like, you know, it's kind of cool. I'm in my 40s and you have obviously friends that you've grown up with a long time. I, have those from college and from school, but I also moved across the world from London, where I grew up, to here in Seattle, where I've lived for the last 13 years. And it just is really cool to think that it doesn't matter your age, that you can still meet new people and kind of connect with them. And yeah, last year at the TED conference, a group got together and we've sort of just gelled, and it's women from different generations across different sectors and work, and just been a really, really cool bond. Sort of knowing you've got each other's back. So yeah, that's been fun.
We talked a little bit about your sort of work life, like still work related relationships and environments, but it's time to log off, Alex. This is what we came to do, which is to play a little game and, obviously get to know who you are off the clock. Are you ready to play a lightning round of seemingly random questions with me, Alex Reid?
I'm ready.
Which email sign-off do you use the most? Sincerely, best, thank you, or something else?
Something else. I almost always use cheers.
Cheers. Okay. Also, I did say that we were logging off. That was an email-related question.
Right.
So I want to be clear that I understood that wasn't completely an off-duty question.
Well, you're logging off. We're saying cheers.
Yes.
Bye. Now we move on.
Thanks, Alex. Okay. Which superpower would you rather have? Super speed, invisibility, time travel, or weather control?
Ooh. Well, I feel like I am a little bit super speedy, so probably my colleagues would be like, don't go any faster.
Oh my gosh. How do you mean?
Well, I guess I read and analyze things pretty quickly and probably sometimes react too quickly. But I like to be sort of decisive and move fast and not kind of wait around too much.
Same.
I guess I've got a bit of an impatience about me. I don't know the other ones. What were they? Invisible? I don't think I want to be invisible.
Time travel or weather control?
I mean, I do, in Seattle, it is nice to maybe be able to change the weather. So let's go with that.
Okay. So you already have super speed. So what you want to have is weather control. Understandable. Given where you live. So on a scale of 1 to 10, Alex, rate your odds of winning or at least making it far on a show like Next Level Chef. Do you know that show?
Oh my goodness, I'd be like 2.
2? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a chef or any version of a cook. I do like to bake. So my mum always used to, well, she was a great cook actually, she still is, but I didn't get any of that from her, but I always thought, I said I would follow her lead. in making cakes every year for my kids' birthdays. So I got into baking that way. It's like the only thing I do, but I have committed to always doing that, even if now my kids are old enough that they're like, please, could you actually not bake us a cake?
Oh my gosh.
Could you get one that's actually really tasty?
It has come to that.
It's come to that.
What music genre or song motivates you the most? You can pick either.
Well, I love Dolly Parton. So she's definitely my number one. And I actually really love a lot of country music, partly because of her and partly because I spent a couple of years living in Tennessee when I was younger. So I kind of got exposed to some country stuff, and that always sort of feels relaxing and kind of fun. And yeah, I like kind of folky music. I like Jason Isbell, Maren Morris I've been listening to a bit.
Awesome. Puts you in a good mood.
Yeah.
Cool. What's the most unusual thing you can't leave the house without?
I don't think I'd probably take anything unusual with me. I mean, I'm obsessed with reading, so I'll always take a book with me. Although actually, I don't have my book with me today, so maybe that's not true.
We'll take that. So I want to know, if you had to be a professional athlete, Alex, what sport would you play?
Well, I love sport, and I grew up playing tons of sport. I actually played lacrosse for a long time. Played for my country, for England.
No way.
When I was like under 18. Yeah, it was a pretty small sport in England, but still, yeah. So I got pretty serious at that. They didn't do professional lacrosse, so I would have done that. But now I think I would play soccer for sure. Yeah, if I could do over. And I was in this country, maybe even in England, but I don't know how much professional soccer they do there. But yeah, I'd do that. I'd love that. I also, when I was young, I used to play a lot of tennis, so that would have been fun.
But well, let's go back to lacrosse. Is it as violent as it looks?
Not really. For girls, it's a non-contact sport. It can be pretty violent. In fact, I did lose my tooth in a game once, or chipped my tooth.
It's not violent. I just lost a tooth.
Yeah, just lost my arm. No, so the guys, it is pretty aggressive. But although my daughters have now started playing it, and which is really fun to see, and they wear like the goggles and mouth guards, and it definitely feels like there is a bit more protection now. I don't know if that means it's more violent than it was in my day, but yeah, it shouldn't be violent. It's not meant to be.
And then you said you mentioned soccer and then tennis. My husband and I have a dream of like getting into tennis because there's one that's close by where they teach classes and stuff, and I feel like I've seen a resurgence online of people. Obviously there's pickleball, and then there's tennis. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So, which is good.
No, I love tennis, but I keep saying, one of my colleagues and friends, Dan Green, I'm always saying to him, like, I'm definitely going to play tennis. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. And I haven't quite, I think I played it once in the last 2 years. So I have work to do to get back into that.
Let me know once you get back into it. And I will let you know too, Alex. Like,
okay.
My husband and I are going to try this summer for sure.
Yeah.
Let's switch to books. We touched on it a little bit earlier, but what is a book that you wish you could reread for the first time?
Oh, okay. Well, War and Peace is my favorite book of all time. And if I had the time, I would definitely want to reread that. It is a big one. But just like so much good philosophy and love and beauty and brilliance in there. And I probably only picked up like a tiny part of it reading it once. So that one is probably the one I would reread. There's so many books I would.
Yeah. Do you like really... these like extra lengthy novels?
I mean, yes and no. I feel like I have to kind of balance and go between like, classics, and some of those are long and they're hard to get into, but once you're into them, you kind of just feel so immersed. It's just amazing. There's like a reason why they're a classic, right? But then it's a lot and it's hard sort of work sometimes. So I like to go between that and something more modern and fun and lighthearted. The other one that I guess I was thinking about when you asked, like this book called Alone in Berlin by Hans Fallada. And that is set in like 1930s, early 1940s Berlin. And it's just this beautiful book about like ordinary people doing extraordinary things and just the sort of simple act of like some level of defiance, which even if you think you're not doing enough or you're only doing something small, that it can still be so meaningful. And I just love that sort of sentiment of taking a small action that can have ripple effects. So that just stuck with me. And then some other ones, like I noticed, I think it is Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow on your shelf.
Yeah.
And I loved that one, Gabrielle Zevin. I think that's the author. And just
for sure.
So I actually really love sad books.
You love sad books.
Yeah.
Quote, Alex Reid loves sad books.
I don't know why, but it's just so moving. And I love the human connection and the emotion that an author can bring out. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's why, like, I feel like I've seen more of like these book communities, like online, or I live in New York, so in the city, there's a bunch more like bars and like they're bookstores, but like you can hang out and stuff, like, because there's something for everyone. I mean, that's like,
I love that.
What books are. Like, you pick any genre, right? And you can find someone else who likes it.
I didn't know there were bookshop bars. That sounds like
that's a thing.
I've never been to one of those, so I need to do that. That's another reason to go to New York. Exactly.
So next time you're in town, I want to try that too for the first time with you, because I've never been. You know, life is always happening. I wish I could just like stay there for like a day or something, and you know, just go through the books, or even if you're just by yourself, I feel like you'll have an amazing time.
Totally.
We can talk about books all day, but let's talk about your kids now. Alex, you have 2 daughters, correct?
Yeah, I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old.
And I've always heard that it's difficult raising a teenager. But can you share something positive with me that I can look forward to in raising my own son?
Yeah, no, I absolutely love. You know, people say like every age is different and every age you love. And my eldest is 13, so she's only just gone into teenagerness. And yeah, there are definitely moments like this morning. She was really short with my husband and I about something.
All right.
My husband and me. And there's some grumpy moments and some door slamming. But she's still, at least right now, she's really open about like the crushes she has at school.
Yes.
It's lovely that she can share that with us. And she's just this openness and curious mind. It's so cool to be around that, like to see someone willing to be open. And like we went to a restaurant at the weekend and there was this beautiful waitress and she came over and Sadie goes, "You're really pretty." And I was like, oh my gosh, how lovely that you feel the like vulnerability and confidence to say that, because it's so nice. And we sort of grow out of that, like, oh, I don't want to say that to someone. They might think, it's silly. But it's kind of beautiful to see her still so open and vulnerable.
And it's interesting because you said she just turned 13, right? So it's kind of in the early stages.
I know. Thank you. Yeah, I get it. Right.
Sorry that I pointed that out. Only because I feel like I was maybe a pain when I was.
14. I was definitely, it was bad. So I'm not looking forward to that. But
Yeah,
then it was really nice.
Okay, so I love this question because I wish this would happen to me. All your responsibilities are paused for 24 hours. What would you do with all that time?
Oof. Well, probably I would actually go find that bookstore that has a bar in it. And you said, even if you're on your own, I'm like, I would 100% want to be on my own. And just like even being around books and just the smell of the books is so beautiful. It's so relaxing. And then I'd want to buy like a whole stack of them and then go home and snuggle up with my dog and just read all day.
Yeah, right. I mean, for 24 hours, that's like...
Yeah, for 24 hours. I mean, there's some good shows on as well. I think I could watch the Friends and Neighbors and catch up on some of the latest, The Studio. But yeah.
Final question. What is your go-to after hours media? I feel like you talked a little bit about this, but like, what have you been watching I feel like we've talked about that also, but feel free to add some more watching, reading, or listening to lately.
Yeah. So watching, those two shows, plus probably White Lotus, obviously. In fact, one was kind of fun. Natasha Rothwell, who's one of the main actors in the latest series, she actually was in our TED group. So that was kind of fun getting to hear.
Oh, that's amazing.
Met her the day after the finale. So it's fun to hear her perspective on it all. And she's fantastic.
Yeah, I've listened to some of her interviews because I also watched The White Lotus. Also, funnish fact, a bunch of our guests on the podcast have mentioned The White Lotus. So,
of course.
Yeah, of
Everyone's
course.
watching that.
Yes, exactly.
And then reading, I'm currently reading one of Kristen Hanna's books called The Nightingale, which is a few years old, but, really enjoying that. I read The Women a few months ago, which was good too. So that's been kind of a good read. I'm reading a lot about World War II, I guess. That seems to be...
Sad books.
Sad books, that's right. A lot of war books.
No, but I am taking notes mentally on some of the books that you mentioned. But yeah, I could get into like something... and also the classics. I feel like if I'm serious about my book goals for the year, I need to put a classic in there. Not just like the page turners, which I love.
I will say the Charles Dickens books, I read David Copperfield last year or the year before, and that is just amazing. It does take a while to get into because it's sort of like, it's almost like reading Shakespeare. It's written in just a different way, but then once you're in, it's amazing. And I don't know if you've read Barbara Kingsolver's Demon Copperhead. That was based on David Copperfield. And just like reading the two of them, I ended up randomly having just read David Copperfield before that book came out, and just seeing them side by side, the amazing skill of Barbara Kingsolver to be able to take this historic, amazing book and bring it into the current day. And she's just a master. So I would encourage anyone that wants to read a brilliant book right now that really kind of tackles some of the biggest problems we're facing in America and the opioid epidemic, and just through the lens of like a narrative arc that Dickens created. It's just so cool.
Before we wrap things up, Alex, is there anything big that's coming up for you, the foundation, anything that you want to promote or share with our listeners?
Sure. Well, the foundation is celebrating its 25th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Actually, next week, May 8th. I don't know if this will be out before then, but we have a big announcement on May 8th. Bill Gates and our CEO, Mark Zuckerman, will be in New York to hopefully celebrate. And we'll do lots of media around that. And hopefully it will be a moment of hope and sort of good news. Excited for that.
Alex, this was so fun.
Thanks, Camille.
I feel like we were recording, and we will chat more, which I suspect we will do a little bit more chatting after this interview. But thank you so much for hanging out with me, Alex, and for joining me on Impact After Hours.
I had such a good time. Thanks so much, Camille.